Denver Broncos rookies report to training camp tomorrow, and there are a lot of exciting but unanswered questions about these Denver Broncos as we head into the 2024 season. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? Who's going to be the starting running back? Like, who's going to fill in for Josie Jewell? Who's the starting center? All those questions are yet to be answered, but the one that has me up at night is, what are Sean Payton's true hopes for the team this year? Is what the media is saying true, that we are only a 5-win team and that Sean Payton really has like a long plan of get Bo Nix a couple games this year and build towards next year when we're all off Russ's money? Or does Sean Payton have all of his chips in, like I believe, this season, and that he is going to shock the world? And what is going to happen with some of these rumors right now with a disgruntled star wideout really could get completely answer that question for us. We're going to dive into that in this video and a ton more. If you're new to the channel, Ben, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan. If you love the Broncos and can't wait for the season, helps me out a ton if you would smash that like and subscribe button. So diving in right here, we know there is a whole lot of drama with the San Francisco 49ers. They are probably the most stacked offensive team in the entire league with the best running back in Christian McCaffrey. They have Deebo Samuel, and if you watch the Netflix show, the receiver show, you just see what a beast Deebo Samuel is. They got George Kittle, who I think is probably the best tight end in the league as well, as Travis Kelce gets older and is just like Taylor's boyfriend at this point. And then they got Brock Purdy, who can put the ball wherever it wants to go, and one of the best offensive minds in the game, and Kyle Shanahan scheming that all up. And so now we have this really weird impasse where Deebo today came out and asked for a trade. He wants to get that bag. He wants to get the money. He wants to play with his friend Jaden Daniels with the Washington Commanders. However, I think it's very unlikely that John Lynch and the San Francisco 49ers deal him in the division. And if you look throughout the history of the Denver Broncos, the relationship, and a lot of it hinged on John Elway, who's still very much plugged into this organization. But there was almost like a weird kinship between the San Francisco 49ers and the Denver Broncos, where there was tons of trades that happened back and forth, tons of poaching of dudes off of practice squads. Like we got Jonas Griffith off of the San Francisco 49ers practice squad, partially because of all the relationships we had with the front office in San Fran. And we see that time and time again. So here are the top trade destinations for Brandon Aiyuk, the disgruntled star wideout. We're going to talk about why he would be a good fit, what the trade package would entail, and why I think whatever the Denver Broncos do with this or Courtland Sutton, it will answer the question, what is Sean Payton hoping to do next year with the Denver Broncos? So here's really the story is all about Brandon Aiyuk wants a new contract, is very disgruntled. He has done a media tour, ESPN, NFL Network. He's been out there just asking for it. And there's a lot of similarities between what Deebo did several years ago with the San Francisco 49ers. He had a career year, asked for a trade, and the 49ers ended up ponying up for him. And he has not yet hit that same number that he had. You know, he had his best 2 years of his career, asked for a new deal, got the new deal, and then he hasn't hit that number yet. So I think that might make the 49ers be like, hey, we've been down this road before. Aiyuk had his best season as a 49er last season, and we think that's the ceiling, and we think that a lot of that is due to how Shanahan draws up systems. They went out and drafted a wide receiver in the first round. I think Shanahan has that inner confidence of like, man, we already got a stacked offense. We don't got time for all this mess. So I think the chances of an Aiyuk trade are very, very, very high. Really cool article in the New York Times today that really just talked about the differences here between what the Deebo reworked deal and the Aiyuk reworked deal, because I think in 49ers country, is that what they call it? 49ers Kingdom, maybe? I don't know what the 49ers Bay they call it. They're all like, relax, Deebo did this same thing, but there's some huge, huge differences. And one of those huge differences is that the 49ers drafted a wide receiver in the first round, which is not a good sign for Aiyuk. And it wasn't quite as out there. Like Deebo wasn't hitting the media circuits and tweeting out pictures of the Commanders practice film. And so I think it is way, way tenser. And All the stuff with Debo happened way earlier in the season, earlier in the offseason. We are like on the eve of training camp. And that even, I guess, allegedly, according to this article, even when it was at its most tense, there were video and pictures of Debo Samuel playing catch on the sideline with Kyle Shanahan's son. So it just seemed like the relationship was a lot better there. Whereas here, it really feels like we are at a breaking point with that. And so, again, tons of predominantly orange, Mile High report, all have been like, hey, the Broncos should make a move for this dude, and he would be very, very good. And that while we have probably our most deep wide receiver room that we've had in several years here, we don't have like a true number one, the true type of player who defenses have to completely game plan for. And I think Brandon Aiyuk could be that player for the Denver Broncos. All of our hopes, obviously, is that Marvin Mims steps up and becomes that guy, that he's a Tyreek Hill type, take the top off of any defense. All of our hopes are that Troy Franklin is that. But at this point, while the potential is there, we haven't actually seen it in real NFL games. And so I think Sean Payton would just be giddy if he had the type of talent that a Brandon Aiyuk would offer. And so, yeah, the Aiyuk unfollowed the 49ers on all of his channels, which we know Courtland Sutton did that as well. And so the trade package is what they're saying is that the Denver Broncos would have to give up Courtland Sutton and probably a first or a second round draft pick for Brandon Aiyuk. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about sending Courtland and a first round draft pick for a game-changing wide receiver? And in my mind, while a first round draft pick seems like very, very steep price to give up, like it is for a guaranteed player. It's for a known quantity. We drafted Jerry Jeudy. What was that the 9th overall draft pick that we got Jeudy, or was that Pat Surtain? He was an early first round draft pick, and he isn't even a fraction of the receiver that Brandon Aiyuk is. And so I think getting a known quantity first round draft pick is an absolute no-brainer. Obviously, one of the things to consider is that if we bring Aiyuk here, we would immediately need to give him the deal that he's upset the 49ers aren't giving him. But if I had to choose between giving Courtland Sutton a huge deal at north of 30, whereas Brandon Aiyuk is only 26 years old, I think he's got 5, 6, 7 years of great football, whereas I think Courtland Sutton probably has 2, 3 years of great football ahead of him. So let me know, what do you think about that? He was a first-round draft pick, 25th overall draft pick, and very, very highly graded. And we're looking at, you look at his route tree and his success here, it's unreal to look at these percentages based on the different types of route. And there really is not a route that he runs that is not a successful route. I love seeing this here, that 100% of screens. And I just think Bo Nix slinging it, one of his big qualities at Oregon was his ability to get the ball out in the flat quick, or little dump offs, or little, 20% of his throws or whatever within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And you're looking right here at that being incredible. We know Sean Payton loves the dig, the curl, the slant, and you're looking at all of these routes here and just a tremendous level of production there. And you compare that to Courtland Sutton, and obviously this was him coming out of SMU. You just do not see the same level of success for Courtland Sutton. His best route has always been winning a jump ball in the end zone, and we've seen so many highlights. And Courtland Sutton, jump ball in the end zone, I take him over Brandon Aiyuk any day, but it's the rest of the route tree that Brandon Aiyuk, you take him every single day and be excited about that. Here's a quick little breakdown of him week 1, and just seeing that he caught this slant across the middle for a touchdown, that he can run these here. And he just has dudes looking like they're on ice skates, and not just, cornerback 2s, but like, really, really, really good cornerbacks. He's just putting them on skates. Like that's Patrick Peterson. Just look at that juke. I mean, that is nasty right there. He literally makes him fall down to the ground, and you look, all of his film just has you out of your seat excited for what he could be. Here's him in the NFC Championship game against the Detroit Lions, and probably that comeback that they made after being down at half was because of Brandon Aiyuk and his ability to run all these different routes, set up different routes by going outside there, then having the middle wide open here. Very clutch receiver. So what do you think about Aiyuk? Obviously, we'd all want him here with the Denver Broncos, but at what cost would you be like, pull the plug? I think if we could send Courtland Sutton in a second, I would do it in a heartbeat. If it had to be a first-round draft pick, that has me just a little slower on pulling the trigger. We know what it's been like over the past couple of years. Not having our first-round draft pick makes watching the NFL draft a whole lot less fun, and it can kind of hamstring your team for years to come. But I think what the Denver Broncos do with that receiver position, whether it is give Courtland Sutton a rework deal and get him back, or bring Brandon Aiyuk here, that would let me know that Sean Payton thinks we can win now. If for whatever reason we trade Sutton for draft picks or we trade him for a developmental player, that will let me know that all of the speculation and rumors from the media that we're going to be bad, maybe Sean Payton believes that too. But very curious what y'all think. In Broncos country, we have a ton to believe in. That one just kissed the front of the rim.